Hey guys, this is Tyler. I'm here in Estonia, and I'm going to talk to you guys, MGTOW guys, for everyone here in the US especially, but this is applicable with anyone. For you guys in the US, you're really going to want to start thinking about some factors. At this point, we know that Joe Biden is likely to take over as president from Donald Trump in just a couple months. There could be serious things that change quite rapidly in this situation. I think there's going to be a pretty big exodus, a flood of people that do leave the states maybe at some point next year. I mean, we've already seen this, of course. I've read different reports. There's anywhere between 6 to 10 million Americans, people from the US that live abroad. And I'm one of them. I'm one of millions. Just note though, that as the presidency transition takes place, this could have a lot of impact on guys, mostly men here. I mean, maybe a little on women, negatively in the US. And this could be quite shocking for many things that change. There is likely to be some rapid transformation. And you probably want to start putting a redundancy plan in place to help protect yourself and your assets from negative things that may happen. Firstly, I think you should get a passport if you don't already have a passport. I know that the US had stopped accepting passport applications for a while. I don't know for certain if this is back running, but the State Department or whoever handles this had stopped issuing and renewing passports for at least a few months at the height of the COVID situation. And so get on top of that if you don't have a passport. The next thing is that you should really start looking at second residency and or second passport options. This is something that is a great form of insurance. As we can see, the US passport is really losing its value. I mean, this year it's just incredible how much it's plummeted in terms of how functional it is. Start looking at other countries. Firstly, see if there's a country that you can gain a passport through through descent. You may have a relative that is of Italian background or is of Russian background or Chinese background. Look at your ancestors and see if you can obtain one by descent. This is probably one of the easier and cheaper options. If this is not the case, then you're going to have to probably look at either obtaining a citizenship by investment or by looking at residency options, which are probably going to be cheaper here. There's different residencies, and this you'll have the most variety. Just look at countries that what their residency requirements are. You may be able to start a business there or maybe get a job. The cheapest option especially for younger guys here, is to get a student visa. You would be amazed at how cheap in some countries it is to study at a foreign university. And often through a student visa, it's very easy to segue into either a work visa or even a permanent residency document. For example, in Serbia, you can go and enroll at a university there and pay as little as 1,000 or 1,200 euros a month. 1,200 euros a month. Even a more expensive university, you may have to pay maybe 3,000 to 4,000 euros at most. There's a lot of options here. This is like a residency document. This is probably one of the cheapest ways to obtain a residency document in a foreign country. So this is something to be on top of. Look at getting a second passport, residency document, whether it's permanent, temporary, and you can look at student option or business option or work option, whatever. There's also consider other factors, like if you're looking at Europe, many European countries, of course, on the EU, look at what the future of the EU is, what the changes that may happen as in any country. If you're, say, looking at Australia, look at what's been happening in Australia, and just remember that even if it's an easier option, you'll have to consider different factors here. The next thing is to open foreign bank accounts. This is really important because you need to start protecting some of your money. Get your cash out of the US as much as you can, because the US government is going, at some point I predict, have a cash grab. And first, of course, they're going to target the wealthier people, people who have serious money in bank accounts. They're going to find some way to get at. I am not saying that your wealth is necessarily protected in a foreign country, but it's more protected than it would be back home, especially if you're in a non-CRS country, common reporting standard. This is something that most countries abide by, this common reporting standard, where essentially they show their books to the IRS. It's this common sharing standard for bank accounts anywhere across the world. There's only a handful of countries that have non-CRS, and those non-CRS countries could be Armenia, Cambodia, Kazakhstan, Macedonia, Montenegro, Dominican Republic, and Georgia. There's a few others on that list, but those are the best countries you should first look at. But if you can't get one through one of those countries, look at other ones. You could look at one in Serbia, in Russia, many places actually. I mean, Middle East. Look at what are the options, and have multiple bank accounts. Asia also, look at East Asia. Wherever you are, you could find something that's suitable. And don't just open one, open multiple ones and spread the money. Make sure that it's a somewhat reputable bank. The next thing you should do is invest as much as you can in crypto. Crypto is going to become a lot more valuable in the near future than fiat-based money. US dollar, euro, pound. This is all going to plummet, honestly. Just give it like 10 more years. This money is going to turn into monopoly money. You're going to want to have a lot of wealth stored in both crypto, but also look at precious assets like gold and silver, because I think the precious assets are going to be another way that you can store wealth. And look at both crypto and then look at precious assets. You can of course keep some precious gold or silver at your home in a safe, or you could keep there's vault options you could consider. You may even want to carry a bit when you travel around for any reason if there's some kind of emergency. I would advise not using a US-based platform. Stick to non-US based platforms for buying and for storing crypto as much as you can. If you need to use a US platform, all right, but just remember that there could be more restrictions, more government oversight in the near future on this, and it might be wise to have a non-US based crypto wallet platform or whatever it is. The next thing that you should do is maybe buy some property, buy land in a foreign country, or even domestically in your home country. You could. In a foreign country though, there may become a time with people may just need basic necessities. It could be like milk from a cow or eggs from chickens. Especially if you're living in a foreign country that's relatively poor, it may just be best to own the land yourself. And this, of course, you could utilize to obtain some of these basic products. Yeah, buying the land, this is not as much of a priority for a guy back in the US, but it's something that you should consider here. The next thing I would start doing is learning a second language, especially a language of the country or region that you desire to live, if you are thinking about making an exit, because it's a lot better and more advantageous if you already have some working knowledge of the language. I mean, if you're going to, like, say Russia, or it could be a Russian speaking country or where Russia is widely spoken, whether that's Kazakhstan, Armenia. If you know Russia, of course, that would be very advantageous. The same way if you went to China, or if you went to a region nearby China, knowing Chinese would be very advantageous. Look at common spoken language and start learning it, and this would be very useful, because once you get started, the last thing you should do is make sure you have some kind of exit plan in place. Because if you're in a really tight bind and you have to leave within a week, like if they pull something like in Australia and the borders just shut down like really short order, you'll want to have a plan in place so that within a few days or a week you can be out of the country and relocated, have everything figured out, dialed in, know what you're going to do, and then you can take off when you need to. If overnight they just say, oh, people aren't going to be able to leave, they just shut the border down, you'll be much better off having it pre-planned this way. These are some basics here to get going with. And just remember that we're in for some serious changes when Biden comes into office. And looking at how bad it is now, I can't imagine where it's going 5 years for the U.S. So this is my input here, and give me your feedback below. Thank you.